So, good afternoon, one and all. A bit of an impromptu one this afternoon. Of course, massive news has come out in the last 5 minutes or so. Shaun Wane has announced the Ashes squad that will face the Aussies this coming autumn in a couple of weeks' time. Let's go for it bit by bit. First things first, Joe Burgess has been included, of course, scored 2 at the Cup final this week, which, you can't argue with that, can you? He fully deserves his place this week. Mikey Lewis, Jez Litton, as you would expect, is there as well. AJ Brimson, the Gold Coast Titans, he's in, which is, again, an interesting one. AJ Brimson comes in. We'll be talking about this, of course, on Super League Raw Weekly this Thursday night at 8 p.m. Elsewhere from the NRL, Newcastle Knights duo Dom Young and Kai Pearce-Paul are there. Herbie Farm with arguably one of the best players in the world, possibly the best centre in the world. He'll be there. North Queensland's John Bateman is in. Just saying. That's an interesting one. So there you go. And, of course, Morgan Smithies is there as well. Owen Trout, he's rewarded with a call-up as well. Callum Watkins and Alex Walmsley both return. Do you know what? I've got no issues with Walmsley. None at all. I mean, his performance this season for the Saints, he's been the most consistent English prop forward in Super League this year. So how can he overlook him? How could he overlook Alex Walmsley? He can't. So Alex Walmsley is back in, which is great. And Callum Watkins in. I'm not so sure about that. I'm not so sure about that one. I mean, Callum's been great. Don't get me wrong, for the Leeds Rhinos this year, but for me, I think his time has passed. That's just my personal opinion. I think there's other players that could have featured. Right, let's go through it one by one. I've already mentioned John Bateman. That's a massive call. That is a massive call, especially when we go through the full list in a moment in terms of second rowers that are not in this squad. Because that's John Bateman's position. He's not playing in the centres. We go at Wardle and Herbie Farmer for going to be, the starting centres. There's no doubt about that. But John Bateman, wow. Joe Burgess just said he's back. Darryl Clark is in there as well. Even Havard of the Wigan Warriors. Morgan Knowles, who has been simply exceptional for St Helens this season. He finds himself in the squad, as does Matty Lees. The Rob Burrow Trophy winner from the weekend, Mikey Lewis, is in there. Jez Litton, the Hull KR Player of the Year, he's in there. Mike McMeekin of Wakefield Trinity. Happy days. Spoke to Mike at the Dream Team and he said if the call came in, he'd be delighted to don his country's shirt one more time. And there he is. He's in the squad. Richly deserved. Harry Newman gets a spot in there. Leeds Rhinos. Mikolaj Oledzki is in the squad. Tom Johnstone is in there. Kai Pearce-Paul, Harry Smith, Morgan Smithies is in there. A great year this year at the Canberra Raiders for Morgan Smithies. Owen Trout at the Lee Leopards. Walmsley I've just talked about. Wardle as expected. Watkins, Jack Wellesby of St Helens, George Williams, Dom Young. Right. Interesting. What are my initial thoughts on this squad? Let's go second row. John Bateman. Not in this squad. Matty Nicholson. Don't get me wrong, he's been out a lot this season with injury. Had he not had his injuries for Canberra, maybe Matty'd have been. So I'm not that filthy about that one. What I am filthy about is surely Dean Hadley and James McDonnell should be in this squad. Hadley and McDonnell. Where are they? I cannot believe for 1 minute that John Bateman offers this England squad more than he does, Hadley and McDonnell. I'm absolutely amazed by that. Of course, other noticeable absentees in this squad. Let's go to hooker. No Danny Walker. No Danny Walker in this squad. He's got Darryl Clark in there. He's got Jez Litton. Is that an indication that he might be utilising Mikey Lewis at 9 to keep George Williams in? Which, again, we'll be debating this at length at Super League Raw Weekly this week. But, as I'm sitting here now, I mean, get you, if you want to ask a question, get them in the chat. I'll answer any questions. I'm not going to be on for long today, but I just felt it was worth a live, this one. Yeah. Is it just me? Don't know. Really, really weird. Really weird. I'm delighted I'm doing this for you. The only reason I'm doing it is my daughter's off school, which is happy days. So I'm going into work a bit later. It's the only way I could do it. But happy days anyway. So yeah, really surprised by that. Really, really surprised by that. No Danny Walker in there. No Brad O'Neill. I think Brad wouldn't have done himself any favours with that yellow card. If I'm being perfectly honest, Shaun Wane would not have enjoyed that at the weekend. Perhaps that was the moment that Brad O'Neill's chances of playing the Aussies vanished at the weekend. But yeah, no Danny Walker. Is he thinking of playing Mikey Lewis at 9? Oh dear, please, Lord, no. Mikey's got to start 6. I'm sorry, you don't put square pegs in round holes. Not when you've got players of that quality. You've just got to play him in his rightful position for me. It's going to be very interesting to see how Mikey Lewis is utilised. Of course, no Jake Connor. We've got to say that the reigning man of steel, not in the squad. Not in the squad. Not even in it. Which again. I mean, Harry Smith, I felt played well at the grand final, showed on the biggest stage yet again what a great player he is, Harry Smith. I've got no issues with Harry Smith being in the squad. But you've got to question, where is Jake Connor? No Jake Connor in there. You go to the wings, Joe Burgess in there. Dom Young, we expected Dom Young in there. Tom Johnstone in there over the likes of, Tom Davies, Liam Marshall. Has Tom Johnstone had a better season than Liam Marshall and Tom Davies? No, I don't think he has, but what he does bring is height. And we do know in international rugby league on the wings, coaches do go for a bit of height. So that's interesting. Of course, there's no Victor Vadley in there. So it does look as if Morgan Knowles will play, rightfully so, starting 13. And I think he deserves that. I think he absolutely deserves that. I think Morgan has been exceptional this season. I would expect Morgan Knowles to start in that opening Ashes game at Wembley in a couple of weeks' time. I really, really would. So yeah, it's all interesting. It's all really interesting indeed. John Bateman. I mean, these rumours came out, didn't they, in the middle of the week? Did it? And look, John Bateman has been an exceptional pro. I mean, this isn't me dissing John Bateman as a rugby league player. It really, really isn't. John Bateman has been a phenomenal player in his career. There's no doubt about that. He went in his first stint over in the NRL. He was exceptional. I mean, let's be crystal on that. He's played 19 times this year for the North Queensland Cowboys. I just think he's very lucky to be there, folks. I just think he's very, very. Does anybody get it? Does anybody get how John Bateman is in the England Ashes squad? Does anybody get that? Mind blown, Dave, says Nigel Bennett. Completely agree with you, mate. Completely agree with you. Jake Connor not there. Again, somebody else saying about Jake Connor. Where's Jake Connor? Again, I don't know. When you look at a squad like that, you think he was never going to get it. I mean, look, he has made no. He hasn't. Shaun Wane has not said at any point that Connor was going to be in at any point. So I don't think anybody's surprised by that. It allows Jake now to go off and enjoy his autumn, have a bit of a break, and get ready for the Rhinos next season. But yeah, this is a real surprise for me. A real surprise for me. Of course, Brimson's there. I mean, and do you know what? I mean, just talking about AJ Brimson, let's go to him. I mean, there'll be a few people that don't know AJ Brimson that well. He's played 135 times in the NRL. He scored 55 tries. He plays predominantly at fullback. He played 23 times this season. He scored 12 tries this year, 13 assists as well, 88 tackle busts, 13 clean breaks in the season. An 83.2% tackle efficiency, averages 142 meters a game. Good player, AJ Brimson. Really good. Plays for Gold Coast Titans, like I say. And that might just put good pressure on Jack Welsby. Jack's not had the greatest of seasons. We know Jack's a quality player. We know that Jack was the acting captain when George Williams wasn't in the England squad earlier in the campaign. But will AJ Brimson start over Jack Welsby? I mean, that's an interesting one for you St. Helens fans out there, because that could happen for me. I would not be surprised if Shaun went AJ Brimson over Jack Welsby. I mean, you say any Saints fans that are watching, what's your thoughts on that? What's your thoughts on that, Nige Bennett going, right, he's really throwing one in there, Nige. Bateman vice captain, oh, please, God, no. But yeah, will he put AJ Brimson at fullback? Will he start him? Do you know what? I think he might. Like I say, we'll get into big discussions with the boys with regards to this on Super League Raw Weekly this coming Thursday at 8 p.m. Carla Louise, good. Well, I hope you've recovered from the weekend, Carla. Great to have you company at the grand final. But yeah, Carla, like everybody else, can't believe that Bateman's in there, that Jake Connor's been omitted from the team. Brimson's had better form than Wellesby. Carla's saying, yeah, I think that's a real battle there for the number one shirt. I really would say that. Yeah, it's just really bizarre. So looking at this, I think what we can decide from it is that it will be Brimson or Wellesby at full back. I would expect on the wings, I think Joe Burgess has just put himself right in the frame to start. I really do. And I think it'll be him and probably Dom Young. We know that the centre partner, Wardle and Herbie Farmer, has to be Herbie in an England shirt. He's going to start with Smith and Williams. That'll be the biggest surprise ever if he didn't start with Smith and Williams and he actually put Lewis in. Even though for me, Lewis deserves to start at 6 in that Ashes game. I think he will start Harry Smith and I think he will start Williams. Front row, that's going to be interesting. I think Alex Walmsley, will he make him an impact prop? Because, of course, you know, Alex can come on. He's got a bit of size. I mean, when you actually look at the front rowers that he's picked, there's a lot of workhorses in those front rowers. You know, Mike McMeekin can put in big minutes and really lay a platform. Even Havard, the same. Matty Lee's the same. In terms of impact props, there's not really any there. I mean, Owen Trout, for me, can go second row. He won't play second row. I mean, he could do, actually. He could do, actually. That'd be interesting. I don't think he will. I think he'll probably slot maybe Kai Pearce-Paul in there. Of course, no junior in December. That's an interesting one as well. So in December, not in the squad. So for me, do you know what? The more I think about it, let's just box off the other positions and I'm going to go back to the real crux one, the real crux of the matter, right? He's going to start probably with Jezzy Litton, I'm guessing. He can do 80 minutes, can Jez. Nobody'd argue with that, Jez Litton. Daz Clark, maybe the interchange, or will it be Lewis? Can see that happening, folks. I really can. I think it has to be Morgan Knowles at loose. I think he's probably going to start with 2 workhorses in the front row, maybe a McMeekin and a Elise, maybe. Of course, a Ledsky. It could be a Ledsky as well. I think Alex might come off the bench. We saw him do that with Chris Hill. So I think he might bring a Ledsky off. Alex Walmsley off the bench. And Alex's stats this year, they blitz any other English prop in Super League, so nobody can have any real arguing that. But then we get to second row, arguably one of our strongest areas in Super League, arguably, no doubt about it. And then you look at it and you go, well, who's he putting in there? So in the out and out second rowers in the squad, John Bateman, Kai Pearce-Paul, Owen Trout. I think Trout might start. I think Trout might start, folks. I've got a funny feeling Owen Trout might start in this Ashes series looking at this squad. Because he can play there. He can play there very, very well as well. Morgan Smithies is battling it out for 13. But again, don't be surprised if you see Morgan Smithies utilised in the second row. Will he utilise Knowles in the front row? There's just so many questions. But for me, it's the players that have missed out that you're just looking at it and you're going, where are they? I don't think Tom Johnstone deserves to be in an Ashes squad this season. I think I'd have been more comfortable with Davies, if I'm being honest, on that one, and I would have been. I think that's really surprising, very surprising. He's got to be Harry Newman as backup in terms of centre spot. Again, you look at that. There'd have been other players perhaps that you would look at there. The likes of Ash Hanley, who gives you, double cover in terms of wing and centre, maybe. I don't know. That was interesting. The massive omission in the halfbacks is Connor, and I think everybody thinks that's just madness that Jake Connor's not a part of this squad as man of steel in the way he's played this year. It's just that second row, John Bateman. It's very rare that I'm sat here and I'm lost for words, folks, but I'm lost for words. Herbie Farnworth was injured, but he is back. Is it April 1st? Somebody's saying, I don't know. I don't know. Matty Ashton would have been in had he not been injured, 100%. Matty Ashton, he's really fancied by Shaun Wane. I think Matty Ashton would have been. I think it'd have been a Dom Young Matty Ashton starting wing spots had Ashton not have been injured this season. I think that's an absolute. But he has been. And like I say, Joe Burgess, deservedly so, is in there. Phil saying that he'd start Trout and Kai Pearce-Paul. I think Trout will start second row. I really do. I think when you look at that squad now, I think it really does look as if it's going to be an Owen Trout starter. I mean, at the start of the season, who'd have thought we'd have been going into an Ashes series with no Junior Insemba? I mean, who'd have thought that? But then you look at, I mean, and look, as much as everybody said this year, has Junior been the player he was? He's picked John Bateman. He's picked John Bateman. Right? Let's just put this into context. You've got Junior Insemba, James McDonnell, Dean Hadley. I'm going to go even further. You've got Frankie Holton at Lee. There's another name I'll throw into the hat. You've got Frankie Holton at Lee. Morgan Gannon. Morgan Gannon. There's another name I'm going to throw in. Morgan Gannon. John Bateman. It's just, and then he's picked Callum Watkins. So I'm sorry, even Callum doesn't get in over the players I've just said. Callum, yes, he can play centre. Yes, he can play second row. He's got a bit of utility to him, but come on. Come on. Really? I'm just gonna name him again. Junior Insemba, James McDonnell, Dean Hadley. Those two, dream team, 2025. Dream team, 2025. Nobody can argue that question, right? You then got like some Morgan Gannon, Frankie Holton, James Batchelor. I'd throw him in the mix. You know, I am sat here and I'm just going, wow. Wow. Unbelievable. Unbelievable. This could come to bite. There's going to be so much. I mean, I can imagine what social media is like right now online. You know, people saying they're picking his favourites, not who's the best. This squad, you know, there's a few. And look, Callum Watkins has been an exceptional professional. Callum Watkins and John Bateman. Great professionals, great careers. But this is an Ashes series against Australia. You know, and you've got players, some that will be getting debuts, and rightly so, who this year have been in an Ashes season simply superb. Superb. Have performed at the highest level, you know, in the game this year. And they're not included in this squad. And I find that really bizarre. So it's not that I'm dissing the players. It's not the players' fault they've been picked. And if you got the call to play for your country, would you answer it? Of course you would. You're not going to say, oh, cheers for that, Shaun, but I think you should be picking James McDonnell or Dean Hadley. Or you're not going to do that, are you? You know, you're not going to do that. You're going to go, yeah, I'll have another cap. Yeah, I wouldn't mind a crack at the Aussies. But the best years are behind them. What we want is new blood. And it's just it's a crying shame. Crying shame. What are your thoughts, folks? What are your thoughts? I mean, Kevin Whiteley there. Kev Whiteley. When he halfway the same pet. Wonder if it's the same one. Hadley, 80 minutes on Saturday for Hadley. Walmsley, not 80 minutes all season. Oh, Kev, mate, go and do your own. No. You're going in the wrong area there. Alex Walmsley, 100% deserves to be in that squad. Go and do the stats. Go and have a look. Highest meter maker down the middle in Super League. Second highest tackle buster Herman SASA. Played 26 of the 27 rounds and only missed round 27 because of a HIA protocol. Everything Walmsley's done this year deserves to be in an Ashes squad. I've got no issue with that. But so does Dino. But it's not for Alex Walmsley. It's the players I'm mentioning. Alex Walmsley deserves to be in this England squad. I've got no issues with that at all. Because statistically speaking, he has been the most potent English prop in Super League. Done. No issues with that whatsoever. What I've got issues with is, unfortunately, the likes of Callum and John getting their place over Dean Hadley. Getting their place, you know, it's just not exceptional. Good shout again, Aidan Simpson saying, where's Luke Thompson? That's a good shout. You know, where is Thompson? I mean, he, again, been out injured a lot this season. But yeah, no Luke Thompson, and that's a surprise. That's a surprise. Also saying Newman should be in the team. There'll be a lot of people who'll have a view on Harry Newman. There'll be a lot of people that have a view on Harry Newman, no doubt about it. Interesting, really, really interesting. But yeah, no, Luke Thompson, great shout. You know, Ethan Havard preferred to Luke Thompson out of Wigan. You know, I mean, again, Wigan will have a view. You know, Matty Lees, Alex, what I mean, like I say, Wormsley for me, 100%. I'm not even bringing him into the conversation. But yeah, Luke Thompson, Michelangelo over him, Matty Lees over him. Then people will be discussing that and having a few chats about that, I'm sure. But yeah, there's a lot to unpack here, folks, isn't there? There's a lot to unpack. I mean, look, what I would say, and I think somebody put it in the chat, I think the Aussies will look at that and they'll go, yeah, we fancy this. Yeah, they probably will. And now it comes down to, what they're going to do in terms of Mikey Lewis. Because if Mikey Lewis is not starting six, again, that for me, it's almost too conservative. I think, if I would rather us lose an Ashes series, that, going out there and really going for it, really going for it, and by going for it, not playing people who've been there and done it and have lost. Let's say it for what it is. Have lost against Australia, have lost Test match series. Let's be honest. We haven't won many Test match series, have we? So why play players who've had that opportunity in the past? Why not be brave and go, right, we're going to bring Flair in, we're going to bring Mikey Lewis in, we're going to bring Jake Connor in. We've got Jez. I mean, Jez is there at 9 happy days. We're going to bring in fresh, young, hungry players like James McDonnell. Let's bring James in at second row. Let's give him a go. Let's see what he's all about. Yeah. Deflated, a little bit deflated. I mean, don't get me wrong. If we go on and win it, nobody wants us to win this more than I do. And it's all about opinions. And we're going to find out in a couple of weeks who's right. One thing is for certain, though. I think if there is a defeat and a heavy defeat for Wigan in this Ashes series, I think you could see Shaun Wane calling it a day. And then the question would be, who takes over? And I would ask this question. If Paul Rowley was the England coach going into this Ashes series, would that be the squad? Just put that out there. Then since when does that matter, Ada, in rugby league? Hayley saying in the chat, McDonald's an Irish international. Since when does that matter in rugby league? It doesn't. So he would, as long as if he wanted to play for England, he would. Harry Robertson, great shout. Joshua Kenyon, yeah. Again, exactly what I'm saying, Josh. Why not go out there and go, yeah, we're going to throw it at you, lads. We're going to throw it at you. Yeah. So in the same spirit of Mikey Lewis and Connor, yeah, Bambi on ice, as he's been called by Volstagg. Let's get Harry Robertson in the squad. Loving it. Loving your work there. Josh, you're spot on, mate. Where's Harry Robertson in that squad? Yeah, people say, he's too young. Well, and I mean, the way he played, I mean, his contribution for that winning try that not leads out of this year's competition. What more can the lad do? Yeah, I'm with you on that. With you on that all day long. Yeah, Harry Robertson. Where's Harry? All day long. All day long. Yeah, Josh, mate, I'm with you. And I love, don't get me wrong, he's not in before Falmouth and Wardle, but if one of those go down, it gives that. Susan Bowness saying she's been watching Bateman all year, doesn't deserve to be in the squad. Adi Simpson, Lewis Martin, yeah, spot on again. I mentioned about Marshall and Davis. I haven't mentioned Lewis Martin, young player of the year, top try scorer in Super League. Should he be in over Tom Johnstone? Well, I think a lot of black and white supporters would say absolutely, yeah. And again, as I'm sitting here now, absolutely, why not? If you're good enough, you're old enough, says Carla Louise. Couldn't agree with you more. Again, Paul Railton, where's in December? No, Robbie Mullen, another one. Yeah, Robbie Mullen. I get that. I mean, don't get me wrong. He should be in and around it. I mean, I think he's gone with forwards that. I mean, I don't think he's not picked a. Would he have Robbie Mullen over Ethan Havard? 100%. I think that's the one for me. That as I look at the list, That's the one. If I was going to go direct replacement prop for prop and put Robbie Mulhern in, who would have put him in for? Probably Ethan, if I'm being honest. But yeah, it's a really. But again, the other thing we don't know, and this is the other thing we don't know, and maybe it'll come out in the press and maybe with some press conferences, etc. We'll keep our ears to the ground on that. But the question is, has Shaun Wane been made aware of injuries? I mean, I know that Danny Walker has been training during the last 2 or 3 weeks in preparation for the Ashes series. For whatever reason, Danny's not there. So the question will be, does Shaun Wane know of injuries to these players that we're talking about? Have they picked up a niggle that we're not aware of? Are they going for surgery? We just don't know. But of course, what we will do is have the debate that where are these players? We have enough talent in the Super League to leave the other lads in Australia. I disagree with that, Ben. I disagree with that. I think AJ Brimson. There'll be Pete. He's a good player. Is AJ Brimson? There is, of course, that piece of should he be playing for England? Should he not? You look at Morgan Smithies. How can Morgan Smithies not come back? He's been exceptional. He's won the minor premiership for the Canberra Raiders this season. I've got no issues with him. Kai Pearce-Paul applied himself well down under. It is, so again, I've got no major issue with those players coming back. I really haven't. I mean, I've got issues with a lot of the players that we've said. I think Matty Nicholson at Canberra, he's been injured for too long. I think if Matty Nicholson had played the whole season, I do think he's in. Lewis Martin deserves a spot, says Bellingham. And Ollie Wilson, Ollie Wilson. I always felt Ollie would be down the pecking order. I'll be honest. I think Ollie's time will come. I think he's been incredible for Huddersfield this year, and I think his time may come if he carries on with the form that he's shown for the Giants this year. But maybe this one a step too far. But you're right to throw his name in the mix. Sam Walters again. Oh, Carl Louise is on fire. Yeah, Sam Walters. And the reason, and it's hard to disagree with some of these names because they all can't play, and I get that. But the names that are being thrown out, you look at some of the names in the squad and you're thinking, surely, the worthy of a place. Wow. What a day, folks, eh? What a day. So there you go. We mentioned Luke Thompson, Ian. Again, interesting. Really unbelievable. Billy Ingham saying he'd love Paul Rowley in as the next England coach. And I know that Paul would want it as well. Absolutely. I think Saints will be open. That ain't the case because, of course, a lot of rumours around Saints looking at Paul Rowley as well. But yeah, Paul, I know, would love a crack at England should Shaun Wane step down at the end of the Ashes series. Anyway, we could go on all afternoon and we're not going to. I just felt it was important to come out and give an immediate Super League Raw response to today's squad announcement. You're absolutely spot on to be throwing all of the names at you. Flanagan, absolutely not. Too young, too early, and there's too many other players that you're putting before George. But George's time is coming. There's no doubt about that. But yeah, lots of questions. What a debate we're going to be having on Super League Raw Weekly this Thursday night at 8 o'clock around all things England. Because, yes, we will, of course, be discussing the grand final. We'll be discussing the IMG 12. It was supposed to be announcing who the other two squads are. That's going to be Friday, so watch out. We're going to be going live on Friday morning, reference to two squads that come in to the 14 mix for Super League 2026. But, Super League Raw Weekly this Thursday night, 8 p.m. Make sure that you're there with us for that. We'll be talking the grand final. We'll be talking the England squad, and we will be talking the top 12 IMG point scorers for 2025. And of course, they'll be safely in the 2026 season. We hope you've enjoyed this little impromptu. We look forward to your company on Super League Raw Weekly on Thursday. Don't forget the socials, you members, tonight and on Wednesday. No round unpack tonight. That'll be coming a bit later on in the week. Don't worry, we will do a round unpack for the members between now and weekly. We promise you that. But there you go. Ladies and gentlemen, more questions and answers maybe. See you Thursday for Super League Raw Weekly. Bye for now.